Talk a little bit about what you saw out on the eastern leg of the tour today in Ohio, beginning with your kind of first couple of stops this morning. What did you experience there?
Well, Clinton, we headed west out of Columbus, and then I took a southern route down and looped around
Hold
and
your
came
mic up
back
there,
up.
Brian.
And we saw a fairly consistent crop from a standpoint. Sometimes you get into Ohio and the ear counts are all over the place. And in my route in particular, we had a very narrow range in terms of the ear count. So I think that was, one of the things that stood out to me. Soybeans, the pod count's a little bit more variable, but once again, pretty consistent for an Ohio crop. That wasn't necessarily the case on all the routes, though. I happened to go on that southern route, and they caught some timely rains and have had more favorable conditions than what we saw in some of west central and northwestern parts of the state.
And Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw today? I think you went through a little bit of that there in the first block, but talk a little bit more about what you saw today going through parts of South Dakota.
So we went directly west out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, basically hovering north and south of I-90 over towards Mitchell. And we took about 12 samples throughout, and then we headed straight south to Nebraska. So we took about 12 samples in South Dakota, and it was generally every sample was good. Some were very good, and there weren't any disappointing things. The disease level was relatively low, or at least not unusual, and the bugs were not a problem, and it was just a very good looking corn crop. And the beans, we also had high pod counts throughout the day. Some other parts of the state, they also were, the other 9 routes for traveling today, they also found some very good yield counts, both pod numbers and actual corn yields.